Alright everyone, RiceTime911 here, and today in this Farming Simulator 2017 modding tutorial, we're going to learn something I only figured out 2 days ago, and that is interactive components and how to add them. So sit down, buckle up, and get ready for some learning. So to start off with, I've provided you with a handy little pack. It's called the IC pack, and basically what's got in it is what you can see here. It's got everything you need, the sample code, so what code segments you'll need to put in the XML and the Moddesc. It's got the texture files, the scripts, it's got pretty much everything you're going to need to add IC, even the buttons, which you'll add in the Giants adder. So we'll just take this here, pack, and you can download in the description below, and once you got that, you can follow along, and basically what we're going to do is use this pack to add the script and add some simple animation which will be toggleable by a button that you can press in game. So first thing we're going to do here to get started is we're going to copy over the necessary files for interactive components to work properly into our mod. And basically, if you haven't already, you'll want to have your mod all laid out like this, unzipped, so that you can work on it properly. And then open your IC pack, like I have here. Now I got 2 of them, well, either way. And basically what you'll do is you'll take this folder, IC buttons, and you'll pull it across, and you'll put inside of your mod, so it's one of the folders there, listed. And then you have the scripts here, so you'll want to go into your scripts folder, or if you don't have one, you can create a new folder and call it scripts, and you can keep all your scripts in there and anything like that. And basically, yeah, I have the sample code set up so that basically it'll work when you put in a folder called scripts, the scripts in a folder called scripts. But either way, what we're going to do is now we're going to copy all the Lua files and put them in the scripts folder. And actually, let's just take this interactive control info.tds and put it in there too. And also take the interactive control DDS and put it in the main folder. Okay, awesome. So now we're pretty much set up and good to go. And now pretty much all there is to do is put the buttons in the vehicle in i3D and put the code in to the Moddesc and XML, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so the next thing I think we'll do, the easiest thing, would be to go into the Moddesc, open it up with Notepad or Notepad++. I like Notepad++, so that's what I'll use. And then open up from the pack, the IC pack, the sample code. And then once you got your sample code opened up, and also your Moddesc, what you can do is just copy over the code that you'll need. Now, we'll just start off by adding the ICs, or interactive components, Moddesc code. So that would be all this. And as you can see, it says here under the 10N. So we'll just copy all this for the IC. And you see where it says 10N? Well, we're going to go before the closing tag and just paste in all this stuff for the IC. There you go. So now the IC is set up in the 10N. And then next, we're going to look at, here, just let me open this up. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so now I got it open in Notepad++, the sample code. So now we're going to look at input bindings. So go find input bindings in your Moddesc. And then you're going to go and find the code for the input bindings for IC. Copy it and paste it. And there you go. Now you have your script, your IC set up for the input bindings. And then go to specializations, and just in between here, go find the specialization stuff from the sample code, copy it, and as you can see here it says file name scripts/interactivecontrol.lua. That's why we put in a folder called scripts, because then it can find the Lua properly. And I have a video on Filepaths if you're confused about that, which I'll have in the description if you want to watch that. Okay, so then you'll just paste all that for the specialization name under specializations. So all this stuff from here just goes in under specializations. And then under vehicle types, type name, specialization name, we're going to put these 4 specialization names. So we'll just copy and paste those. And there we go. Then we have all the specializations, specialization names, input bindings, and 10N all set up. So that's all the code you'll need for the Moddesc for the IC. In this tutorial, I'll briefly go over what you need to do to create a simple animation for your vehicle, but since this is more a tutorial on how to add interactive components, I won't be going into it too in-depth. So if you want more of an in-depth look into adding animated parts to your vehicle, I would recommend looking at my other video, which is adding animated parts to a mod tutorial. This video is more using toggle animated parts Lua. It's not as vanilla as what we'll be doing in this tutorial with the animations, but it's pretty much the same sort of thing. It's start, rot min, rot max. It's using sort of the same controls, so it's rather intuitive, and this video will explain a little more to you about adding animations, which may help you with an animation for your IC. Okay, awesome. So now that that's clarified, we'll go on. Next up, I think we'll take a look at our XML. So let's go ahead and open that up. And what we're going to want to do with the XML is, again, we're going to go back to the sample code and have a look at that. And then just scroll down to the bottom of your sample code. And you'll notice here, the interactive components, it says actual interactive components code. Well, this is the code we're going to be wanting to add those buttons that you can press in game to activate animations. So you can go ahead and copy that code and then go back to your XML, and before the end vehicle tag, just paste in interactive components, the whole script there for that. And you may have noticed there's also this script here, IC external access, and basically what this does is it allows you to toggle an animation outside of the vehicle. So when you're on foot and you press a certain button, then you can, for instance, open a door on the vehicle. Whereas this one, it just allows you to press spacebar in-game in your vehicle, and then with your mouse move it and click on buttons to activate parts or animations. So that's what this here script does. And yeah, so this is pretty much the only script you'll need if you just want to have the button clicking for animations. But if you want, you can also add this, which I'll just go through this and explain this too as well. May as well. And yeah, you can have these 2 pieces of code in your XML, and I'll go through them now and just show you how to use those. But perhaps first, maybe I'll go into a little bit about the animation and how that works. Okay, so I'll just explain how these animations work to you for a moment, and how I think I'll do that is I'll start off with opening the i3D file. Now, in my i3D file, I've got some parts which I'm going to have animated, and one of those is the trunk. Right here we can see it's index path 030, and basically they're separate parts from the vehicle, so when you move the trunk, nothing else moves with it, just the trunk, tailgate, whatever. And yeah, when you're making an animation for a part of your mod, you're going to want to make sure that that part is separate most of the time. Okay, so once that's done, if you have a part that's separate, you can animate it. Okay, so how we do that? Well, let's go take a look at our XML. Okay, so if you have an animation section, then you can create a new animation there, or if you don't have an animation section in your XML, you can copy from the sample code and copy over the code you need. You can just copy over the whole section and paste it if you need it. For example, let's just say you want you can put it at the bottom of the XML if you needed it. That makes it simple. Okay, but as you can see here, we do have a section for animations. So what we will do then is create ourselves a simple little trunk opening animation. And how will we do that? Okay, so let's look in the i3D file. And I'll just make it smaller here. And we can see that at 030 index path, 030 we have the bottom hatch. Now, if we want to animate that to open, then its original position was -180. Then we can have it that starts out at -180, then moves to 90 positive. So basically that's how animations work. You put this, as you see here, start rot, we'd have -180, 0, 0, because it goes X, Y, Z. As you can see, it's rotate X, then rotate Y, then rotate Z. So basically that's how these numbers work. The first number, which is a 0, would be rotate X, then the next number, which is a 0, would be rotate Y, and the last one would be rotate Z. So if we want to create a new animation for the trunk, let's say we did, we just copy one of the previous animations, or you could copy out the sample code, this here, and then what we do is we go and we find out how we want it to move. So for example, let's say we want to start off at 180, so it would actually be positive 180, then 0, 0, so it start off at 180, 0, 0, because X, Y, Z. So 180, 0, and 0 would be the start rotation, then end of rotation, so it will rotate to positive, let's put positive 93, let's have it rotate to there. So it would end up at 93, 0, and then 0. Okay, so that's basically how animations work. You just put where you want to start, then where you want to end, and also put the animation name. So for example, I'll put it as trunk, and then you gotta put in the index path, which I'll put as 030. And that's basically how you create your animation for your vehicle, which you can then bind to the interactive controls so that you can activate it with that or move it. Yeah. Now, a couple things to note when you make your animation for your part is that you're going to want to have in your Moddesc the specialization name equals animated vehicle, and here I'll actually just add that to the script here for you somewhere in case you need it. And you're also going to want to have input bindings and 10N for your animation. So you're going to want to have input name, your animation, as you'll see in the sample code here. Remember we had IC, actually right here, for your animations 10N. Text name equals animation name here, so that would be the name of your animation, and then input animation name here. So if you just create that animation, for example, like I did trunk, you could paste in this here under 10N, and then change the name to trunk, and then input trunk, and then you'd have your 10N set up for your animation, and you just put what you want it to say for that animation in game there. And you'd also want to have input bindings for your animation also. So for example, you saw here in the sample code, you have the code for that. If you want to add your animation's input bindings, then you just put animation name here and the same name as the XML trunk. So the same name as that animation you'd put in the Moddesc, and that would link it to the input bindings and 10N. And yeah, then you'd be good to go with your animation. Now if you want to convert an animation from, say, a custom script like I already had set up here with parts toggle animate parts Lua, then you just, let's say you could do this. You could copy the animation from your animated parts Lua and just paste it into the vanilla animations code, and we're not going to keep it there, but we're just going to reference it. So basically then what you could do if you want to have that same animation but in vanilla, you could just copy in here, create a new section with your animation name. It'll also be the same as this, trunk. So you copy the ID as the animation name, the index to the part node, and rot min would be start rot, so -60, 0, 0, and then rot max would be end rot, so 0, 0, 0. So then that's how you'd copy a custom scripts animation to be vanilla animation. It's, yeah, then you delete the custom one and then just keep the vanilla one, and there you go. Then you'd have the animation copied. Okay, so now we got our animation set up, we got our Moddesc, we got all the code in there for the IC and our animation, and we got all set up the XML coding for the IC. What else is there to do? Well, now all that you need to do is basically just a little bit of work between the XML and the i3D. And actually one thing we should do while we're here is we should change the animation name here section in interactive components where it says animation name here. We're going to change that to the name of the animation that we want to use the interactive components script. So for instance, we had the animation over here, trunk. Well, we want trunk to use interactive components, so we would put the name trunk as the name of the animation there. Now you may notice this here, it says button index here. What's that all about? Well, this we'll be doing through the i3D. So we're going to look at how to do that now. So if you haven't already, then go ahead and open up your i3D file, which would be this right here. Okay, and once that's open, what you're going to want to do is remember that IC buttons folder we put in. Well, we're going to want to go and import the button. Okay, so you would just go File, Import, and then remember that folder IC buttons that we took out of the pack, the IC pack. Well, then you'd go into the folder there, and then you'd see button, i3D, and you'd click on that and go ahead and import that. Okay, so now you got your button in the i3D file, and now what you want to do is you go Control X on your button, then go select the main group of your vehicle, go Control V, and now your button is inside of the vehicle. Okay, so I'm planning on having this as a button to open the back trunk, so it would be just to open this top and bottom hatch. So basically, when you're placing the button, you want to have it inside the cab, and this would be sort of a trunk release sort of button, but yeah, I wouldn't want to have it down there. You sort of want to have the button in eye range, and yeah, just in view of yourself when you're in the cab. So you just want to put the button somewhere where you can see it, so you can click on it easily when you're in the cab. I'll just put it there somewhere. Let's pretend there's a trunk release switch there or something. Whatever works, alright. So once you got your button where you want it, then you can just go ahead and copy the index path. And remember in the XML, remember where we saw where it said button index here? Well, basically, that's going to be the index of your button in the header, which we can see it's 037. So then we would go ahead and where it says button index here, we would put in our index 037. And then anim name, well, actually we'd want to have that too, the same as the window name. That's the name of the animation, so it would be trunk as well. And now basically you've got it all set up, the button, because you got the right index and you got it set up in the i3D file, so you should be good to go. Okay, now that you're all done, go ahead and save everything up. Save your i3D, close it, and go to your XML and your Moddesc and save those as well. And then zip everything back up. So all your files, take them, put them in the zip folder. And make sure it is a zip folder, not RAR, because if it's a RAR, it won't work. So make sure it's a zip, and it should be. But anyway, once that's done, it's all zipped up, you should be good to go. So let's go test it in-game. Okay, so now here we are in-game, and we're going to test if our interactive control works. Awesome, so let's get in. And you'll notice here it says in the controls to press for IC right shift. So we'll go ahead and press that. Then we'll click the button with our mouse. And then you'll see the trunk will open. And when we click again, it'll close. So actually the bottom isn't opening, but to fix that, we just go back and check our indexes are correct and all the names for the animations and everything, and that should fix that. But for the most part, our interactive control is working. So there you can see, when we press the button, it works. Okay, actually I think part of the problem might be this. So actually if you have two animations and they're part of the same one, same name and everything, you can just combine the animations like so. Control X, Control V, so that part nodes are together, and then just get rid of the extra one. So if it's basically like the same animation, two parts of the same animation for like the trunk I have, the two parts opening up, the top and bottom, it can just stay together as like, one animation section. Awesome. So generally, if you have problems with your IC, just go and take a look at your XML and just make sure that all the indexes are correct and the names and everything line up, and you should be good. Now maybe what I'll go through with you is like if you want to have the trunk open from, let's say, outside the vehicle. So we'll just go through and look at the IC exterior setup and how you do that. Remember that last little bit of code we had in our XML, the IC external access. So like I said, that'll allow you to, well in this case, open the trunk from outside the vehicle if you're close enough. So let's just go ahead and I'll show you how you can do that. Now what you need to do is just go into your i3D file again and create transform group, and then Control X, cut the transform group, paste it within your vehicle, and this would be your trigger for the trunk. When you get close enough you can open it. So just sort of place it close to the thing you want to open or close or toggle. Just put close to it, and now there. So there's your trigger for the trunk so that you can open it when you're near it. Now just put the index as 036 because that's what it is, and we'll get rid of the extra entry because we don't need it. And then trigger range, this is how far away from the trigger you can be before you trigger it, so how close you want to be when you're able to open it. So there you go, you just put the index of that transform group and also just tweak the range to wherever you want it, and there you go. That's how you add it so you can open it from outside. Now let's go test that in game now. Of course, again, re-zipping it all up and saving and everything. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, when we press O, the trunk opens up all nice, and oh wow, look at that, that looks amazing. Works amazing too. It's a nice animation, and yeah, just using interactive components, script, and you can do this with your vehicle too. So yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about interactive components, how to use them, and yeah, once you do that, it should work nicely. Alright, so that should be everything that you need to know to add interactive components to your vehicle. If something ain't working, like I mentioned a while ago, just try looking through your indexes and your names for your animations and everything, and make sure that it all lines up there, and if it is, then it should work properly. Important parts are your file paths and your index paths, making sure those are correct. Okay, so that'll be all for this tutorial. If it did help you, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and consider checking out my other tutorials, maybe my Facebook page where I also where I post some modding projects like this here Blazor. So yeah, that'll be all for this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.